XRP and HBAR holders, in this video, we're going to talk about the Fed cutting rates, what kind of impact that's going to have, and when should you see the results. Then also, we're going to talk about the several different ETFs around several different crypto projects. Then also, we're going to wrap it up with the mass adoption from institutions. I want to show you several different news stories maybe you have missed that shows you that you are on the doorsteps of mass adoption. Your hard work is about to pay off. Don't go anywhere. Let's dive on in. Okay, we have a lot of things to cover in this video. I want to respect your time. I'm going to move quick. This is a little bit different than I typically do. So if you are newer to the channel, thank you for subscribing, but let's dive on in. Let's check out some news stories. So from their Fed, directly from their website on October 29th, 2025, this is their post about their cutting rates. It says the committee decided to lower the target range of the federal funds rate by 0.25% point to 3 3/4 to 4%. So what this is essentially saying is they're now getting it down to 3 3/4 to 4%, which sounds great, but keep in mind the goal is actually a 2% rate. So we still have high interest rates in the grand scheme of things. They're just getting better than they used to be. So when can you expect this kind of impact to have on the market? Well, you have to first understand that just because the bank or the Fed cuts the rates doesn't mean you're going to see that immediate impact. I know some people that are investors maybe are still new to investing. They think this is a switch. You're going to see all these projects just take off, overnight. That does not happen. What you have to understand is that money has to circulate within the economy, providing liquidity, providing easy access to money for people then to invest back in the market. So that's going to take a couple months to make that happen typically, okay? So keep that in mind. It's not an instant switch. That's just a step closer to helping us get to altcoin season, because with more money available, more money goes into the market. That's just how that works, okay? But let's keep going. Let's hear from Coach JV. He kind of touched on this and pointed out how this is a perfect timeline unfolding. So let's check out Coach JV on X right here, posted on October 30th, 2025. It says, Feds cut interest rates. Feds confirm money printing. China deal looking good. You think this is by chance? The government will reopen. The Clarity Act will get approval. Crypto ETFs will get approval. And just like that, the pain will be forgotten and the crowd will rush into euphoria, the most dangerous part of the cycle. So what he essentially is saying there is, as people will start flooding in, the rest of the retail will get back into the market. And that's when all the money has already been had, right? At this point, when the rest of the market hears about it, all the big institutions have already pulled their bags and dipped out. But what's also important is that Clarity Act. That Clarity Act is very much like a linchpin we need to make all this work. So without that Clarity Act, the rest of the institutions can't fully jump in, but they will do so once that happens. They're all getting the green light on the back end behind closed doors. Hey, it's good to go. Get yourself positioned. That Clarity Act is keeping everybody else at bay until the major institutions can finally position themselves exactly where they need to be. Once they have that position they need, then they will release that Clarity Act. It's very much a controlled situation. Don't let anybody fool you. It's controlled, okay? But let's read from what I posted on October, 29th, okay? And I was talking about the Phi 9 that was happening in Saudi Arabia on the 28th and 29th, if I'm not mistaken. And in this video here, we talked about it, which I think it came out on October 24th, which was last Friday. We're going to circle back to that. I want to have that come full circle, so pay attention and follow along with me. But on the 29th, I posted on my X account, which you're more than welcome to follow me. No big deal if you don't. It says, remember that Phi 9 happening today. Check this out. Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, Sandy Cowell, Executive VP of Innovation for Franklin Templeton, along with Circle and OpenAI sharing a stage. But yet XRP is still cooked. So what that came from is essentially the Solana story, which we'll talk about here in a second. Everybody's saying, XRP is done for. But what they were missing at the same time they were saying that is now you have out in Saudi Arabia for the Future Investment Initiative, the Phi 9, you have on stage Franklin Templeton with Ripple, with Circle, and with OpenAI discussing crypto and AI going forward. I don't see Solana on that stage, okay? That's something they miss. Like Ripple is such a big player that they're not worried about the other ones, okay? But let's keep going and let's bring that full circle. I'm going to show you about a 10-second clip from that video I was just talking about from Friday, the 24th of October. I want you to see the full circle from what I was saying in the video to where we are now and see how what I was saying came true. And we're going to move from this point to the price action, so don't go anywhere. About 10 seconds. You can keep this on your calendar and watch the market as this happens, because this market's going to flow from this big of a meeting or conference. You're going to see some volatility in the market next week. Probably at the end of this week coming up, you're going to see a lot of green coming up, people pumping their bags. You're going to see a big dump. That's just in my opinion. I could be way off. It is crypto. It's the wild, wild west. All right. It's kind of weird watching myself on the screen, but essentially what I was saying is you're going to see the weekend start pumping going in through Monday, Tuesday, as that meeting was starting to creep up, which was the 28th, 29th, or the 27th, 28th, something like that. You're going to start seeing a lot of money pumping into the market, and then you're going to see that crash right behind it again. And again, keep in mind, yes, you need technical analysis. I'm not saying that watching news stories is the only thing. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying you can kind of start preparing. If you put those two together, technical analysis with these news stories, you can kind of predict the market to some degree, okay? Now let's walk through it on your screen from CoinMarketCap. This is going to be XRP's movement in the week. We're going to start with the 24th into we're at October 30th, okay? So on the 24th, right over here, you'll see on your screen, this is when that video came out, but I actually recorded it on the 23rd. So as the 23rd, I was talking about it was going to be creeping up through the week and back down again. So on the 23rd, the price of XRP was $2.39 roughly, okay? And as we start creeping into the weekend, we get to the 24th, we start seeing it climb as you're seeing it here. As the 25th, now we're at $2.56 roughly. There's some variables, obviously. And then we go through the 26th, you're at $2.63. And now the 27th, you're back up to what, $2.68, $2.69, somewhere around in there. And then you start seeing that coming back down again slowly as now that meeting ends. And they are out there rubbing elbows with the rest of the institutional people saying, hey, buy, dip, sell off, and boom, here we are. They sold off again. We're back down to $2.46. So if you can see this kind of project coming at you, or this kind of story coming at you, you could have sold down here at $2. I'm sorry, you could have sold up here at, well, we sold down there. You could have sold up here at $2.69, knowing that it's going to come back down again to $2.48, and it's still dropping. I think we're going to still see some more dropping come from this, but that's how the major whales do it. They'll sell the top, then buy the low again. It's very much something you can kind of plan if you pay attention to the news stories. So let's keep going here. I'm going to speed it up. We're in 7 minutes here. This is now going to go into the ETFs and what has happened over the last couple of days of this week, maybe you've missed. So from Eleanor Tourette, we posted about the Bitwise. It says Bitwise introducing Be Sold. The Bitwise Solana staking ETF starts trading tomorrow. The first US ETP to have 100% direct exposure to spot Solana, maximizing the Solana 7% average stake and reward rate, targeting 100% of access stake. Second, through Bitwise on-chain solutions powered by Helios Labs, 0% fees with waiver for a limited time. We believe Solana is the key platform and engagement markets, blah, 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 blah. So essentially you are seeing now Solana, Bitwise, ETF getting approved and the ATPs getting approved. And then right over here, this is a post from my account again. On the 28th, I posted, if you're sleeping on HBAR, you don't have much time to wake up before it's too late. And this is a repost I had from Charles Atkins of Hedera. It says the SEC approval of Hedera's ETF filing is historic milestone connecting traditional finance and enterprise-grade digital infrastructure, regulated access, global trust, real-world impact. So essentially what he's saying here, and what I want to point out here is connecting traditional finance and enterprise grade digital infrastructure. So you're talking about merging the old banks with the new banks, getting on the systems here. And with these ETF approvals, you're seeing that they have been done with that. They're now moving forward with the next step of their plan. And let's see what I'm talking about as we carry on with the ETFs. So we have here from Eleanor Tourette as well, and I believe this was on the 27th. Yes, 27th of October. She says that the Canary Fund Spot HBAR and LTC ETFs are now effective and will be trading on the NASDAQ tomorrow, according to CEO Steve. Litecoin and Hedera are the next two tokens to go effective after Ethereum. So what you have here now is we're seeing spot ETFs for Hedera. Like HBAR is getting a spot ETF, and Litecoin LTC is getting ETFs. So you're seeing other projects getting these spot ETFs. You know XRP is going to be up on that here soon. But let's hear from All In Crypto and see what he had to say about the Grayscale Solana ETF. So All In Crypto, he posted on the 29th of October. Grayscale Solana Trust ETF, ticker GSOL, is now live on NYSE Arca. Grayscale has also changed their profile picture to the Solana logo. So you have major institutions like Grayscale teaming up with Solana ETFs, and the list keeps going. We're not done yet. And then we had this story come out, which was my remark from my post earlier when I was talking about, but yet XRP is cooked. This is what people were saying that XRP is done for. This story right here, which you probably have heard by now, but if you haven't, here it is. It says Solana, Western Union, USD, PT, and the digital asset network built on Solana, changing the world's money moves. So essentially, Western Union and Solana are teaming up to help push Western Union's business, okay? Everybody's freaking out saying XRP is done for, but Western Union, yeah, it's big, it's good company, but it's not something that's going to shut down XRP or Ripple and they push them out. That's a retail forward-facing project like a Western Union would be. Well, Ripple is back-end institutional. They have nothing to do with each other. So don't let that freak you out and scare you off of XRP. That just has no real impact, okay? But let's keep going. Let's hear from Mr. Man from X. And this is going to deal with MasterCard and Zero Hash, okay? So this is from Watch Your Guru. He reposted from them. It says, just in, MasterCard to acquire crypto startup Zero Hash for nearly $2 billion fortune reports, okay? So what he posted from Mr. Man is, you know the wave is coming. Ripple and Zero Hash, MasterCard. He provided some snips here, and let's look at that. So from here, if I can get this thing to load, on 7th of February 2025, Ripple partners with Revolt and Zero Hash to expand RLUSD access. And then we have right over here from July 21st, 2025, MasterCard partners Ripple following Genius Act for stablecoin clarity. So you have MasterCard Zero Hash, and you then tie it all together that MasterCard has been working with Ripple. Zero Hash has been working with Ripple. So that is a massive bonus for anybody that's holding XRP, because that's going to be moving on XRP's ledger. In theory, it should, right? And then let's wrap it up and keep in mind that next week on the 4th and 5th of November, we have Ripple Swell. And this post again is going to be from All In Crypto. I want you to see the powerhouse that is going to be at this Ripple Swell conference, okay? But here from All In Crypto on the 29th of October, Ripple Swell 2025 is shaping up to be the biggest and most anticipated yet. With the recent acquisition of G Treasury and Evernorth's planned XRP Treasury to launch publicly in 2026, huge things may be unveiled at the event. BlackRock, JP Morgan, Citi, DBS, CME Group, NASDAQ, White House speakers are all set to attend. BNY Mellon, of course, is there. There's so many big players at this Ripple Swell event that I don't think the public is going to be ready for what's going to come from that conference. If you think the Phi 9 had a big impact on the market, Ripple Swell is going to really shake and rock this market. So that's all I have for you on this video. Hopefully you found something informative. If you did, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing, leaving a comment, sharing it with a friend. It would be very much appreciated. As always, though, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and become the change you want to see. And check out this video from last week if you want to learn more about the Phi 9 and how it had that impact on the market. Because once you start understanding that, you understand how this market moves. I'll see you on the next one.